That Direct was one of my favorites in a while. We got a lot of news about Mario's 40th anniversary, including a new tennis game, a new Yoshi game, and even Mario Wonder DLC. However, weirdly enough, my favorite announcement from this Direct wasn't a game at all. The sequel to the Super Mario Bros. Movie has been given the official title of the Super Mario Galaxy Movie. Out of every Mario game, this specific one has always seemed the most cinematic to me. So I personally think this is the best decision they could have possibly made. So with just about 6 months until the movie releases in theaters April 2026, let's do a little bit of fun speculation and discuss 50 things that I would like to see in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Damn, that's so cool to say. Firstly, the movie has to start with the Star Festival opening. That, by far, I think is the most cinematic cutscene they've ever put in a Mario game to date. The Star Festival is such an iconic part of the Mario Galaxy brand, and I think it needs to be in this movie, specifically at the beginning. Next, there has to be a scene of them feeding Lumas and them creating a planet or a galaxy. That's one of the most fun and kind of wacky things Galaxy does, and it not being in the movie would just be such a missed opportunity. Small planet gravity. I can already see a fun getting to know the galaxy scene where Mario and Luigi are just running around a planet, like trying to escape it, but they're just like going around in circles. I think that would just be such a funny scene. Next, there needs to be pole stars. Pole stars play a critical role in the platforming of Mario Galaxy. I think it could be like a really fun scene where Mario and Luigi and Peach are floating around trying to catch gravity, so Rosalina teaches them how to move around with the pole stars. Speaking of Rosalina, she just has to be in this movie. It's called the Super Mario Galaxy movie. I would bet $1 million she's in this movie for sure. Specifically, casting-wise, I went with a kind of weird idea. I think Anne Hathaway could do a great Rosalina. I think she kind of would have the voice to pull off the serious space princess kind of vibe that we're getting here. And speaking of other characters, Wario and Waluigi, I think have to be in this movie. Yes, they're not in the Mario Galaxy games at all, but this isn't going to be a one-to-one adaptation of the Mario Galaxy games. That's just not what it's going to be. It's going to be a Mario movie set in space with Rosalina and a bunch of different like Galaxy ideas, but I think you can add still some stuff that aren't from Galaxy. So specifically, I want Wario and Waluigi. And speaking of Wario and Waluigi and their casting, I'm personally of the opinion that we should just go with Chris Pratt and Charlie Day doing an evil version of Mario and Luigi. And while it could be fun to get another celebrity voice actor to play Wario and Waluigi, I think what would be even funnier would be Chris Pratt doing a wah and Charlie Day doing Waluigi. Like, I could definitely see that. I think that'd be really, really, really funny. Then one of the last new characters that I would like them to add is Captain Toad. I think it can obviously just still be Keegan-Michael Key playing Toad because Toads kind of all sound the same. But I think bringing Captain Toad in here, specifically because Captain Toad made his first appearance in Super Mario Galaxy, would make a lot of sense and kind of give Toad a bit more to do. You could even just make the Toad from the first game become Captain Toad. Or not the first game, the first movie, excuse me. And speaking of Captain Toad, bring on the whole Toad Brigade. I need the Sleepy Toad. I need the Toad with the map. I think that'd be such a great addition. Obviously need the Comet Observatory. This by far is the most cinematic setting in the Mario series. I think it would be an absolute tragedy if the Comet Observatory isn't in this movie because it is Galaxy. When you think of Galaxy, you think of the Comet Observatory and Rosalina, and they both need to be in this movie for this movie to have any semblance of being a success, in my opinion. Speaking of success, we need a Gusty Garden Galaxy remixed score for this movie, or you could just throw the one in from the games because it's already perfect, but you know, they like changing it up for movies, and I would love to see some new composers take on Gusty Garden Galaxy. This needs to be like the main theme of the movie. I need to be hearing this constantly. Speaking of music on the big screen, I personally am of the opinion that we don't need any other pop songs. I think that was probably the weirdest part of the first Mario movie. This is the Super Mario Galaxy movie. You don't need to draw people in with pop music. I think we can do a little bit more with the Mario music in this movie, I believe. Then I just want to see the Bee suit. It may just be the funniest suit in the Mario series. And then a power-up from Galaxy 2 that I'd like to see is the Cloud suit. The Cloud suit is one of the best power-ups in the Mario series to date, I think you could turn it into a cool cinematic fun fight scene where Mario's fighting Bowser and Bowser's trying to catch him, but he keeps jumping around onto different clouds. I think that could be very, very cool. Something they brought up in the direct was that Mario Galaxy would have new pages to the storybook, and also that they would be releasing a physical version of Rosalina's storybook. This to me points to the very obvious point that the storybook will be in Super Mario Galaxy. Such a great, sad, beautiful story that they wrote that honestly gives me hope that this movie will go into deeper themes and actually have it affect the plot of the Mario Galaxy movie. And then something that was super underutilized in the Mario Galaxy game, but I think should be a almost focal point of the Mario Galaxy movie is the red star. It's only used in one level in Mario Galaxy, and then 2 if you count being able to use it in the Comet Observatory. This power-up is one of the coolest in the entire series, at minimum 2 or 3 times in the movie. I think this is a final fight scene kind of star, almost like the superstar in the original Mario movie. We need a scene of Mario just like flying around taking in the entire galaxy with the red star. And then something fun that I could see is we kind of need some surfing on Loop-de-Loop Galaxy. That's the one where you're kind of surfing in the floating water. I think that is one of the more fun levels in Galaxy. I've always loved that level, and I think it would be a really interesting, fun scene. It could almost be like the Rainbow Road scene we saw from the first Mario movie. I think that could be fun. One of the most iconic boss fights in Mario Galaxy, maybe even the most iconic, like if I'm thinking this is the one that I always go back to, is the Dino Piranha fight on Good Egg Galaxy. I could see this being one of the middle of the movie fight scenes where they're trying to get help from somebody on Good Egg Galaxy, but the Dino Piranha is in their way, so they gotta fight through it by hitting his tail. I think that is something I really want to see in the movie. Then I think we should bring back Cosmic Mario. That could lead to some interesting psychological thriller scenes where Mario is being framed for something by Cosmic Mario or Shadow Mario, whatever you want to call him in this movie. Another obvious one, they need to be throwing star bits in this movie. That is like one of the fundamental things about Galaxy when you think about it, is being able to shoot star bits at the screen and kill enemies. I don't know if they'll be like throwing star bits, but they may have like a star bit cannon where they can put it in a little device and shoot it at enemies. I think that could be interesting, but some way, somehow they need to be shooting star bits at enemies in this movie. Speaking of enemies, Jack Black is returning as Bowser in this movie, and with him returning as Bowser, I think we need another Jack Black song. Having Bowser be like this kind of funny, kind of loser character is a funny take on the character. You know, he's stealing the princess to marry her. Like, that is the most loser behavior you could possibly imagine. I'm curious what they're gonna do with Jack Black and Bowser in this movie, and specifically, I think we need another song from him. Okay, this is kind of a weird one here. A couple days ago, there was an Old Spice leak, like Old Spice the soap, for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. That's how people found out the title of the movie before they announced it yesterday. That's not really what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about on the vanilla scented soap. Yes, we're talking about soap here. There was a Toasterina character on the label of the soap. And while this is a Super Mario Galaxy movie, don't be surprised if Toasterina makes an appearance in this movie. They did walk through Toasterina, to be fair, in the first Super Mario movie. It was just on screen for like a second, but to put it on the label of promotional material feels a little interesting here. Also, something that I think a lot of people have already pointed out, but kind of think is for an interesting reason, is DK and Cranky were not shown in the cast announcement for this movie. And if you've played the Galaxy games, you know that DK and Cranky aren't in the Galaxy games. So it could very well be that they're not returning in this movie. But just because they're not in this movie doesn't mean that I don't think they might be working on a DK movie. They've been really leaning into Donkey Kong recently, especially with the release of Bonanza. They've done a complete 180 on DK's look, specifically starting with the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So don't be surprised if there is a DK movie in the next couple of years. I think that could be what we're looking towards in the future. I think Sling Stars specifically are a very iconic part of like moving between the different planets on a galaxy. I could definitely see there's a training sequence like the first movie where Mario's getting used to the Sling Stars. I think that's a total possibility. And then somebody from Galaxy 2 that obviously needs to make a return is Lubba. Like, if this movie doesn't have Lubba, it's a failure. Lubba is the best. He is Galaxy. I think they could tease a Luigi's Mansion movie in this movie, or just at least give us Luigi in the Boo House. The Luigi rescue missions were a part of the original Galaxy games. I think they could tease a Luigi's Mansion movie here, or at least just give us like Luigi in a haunted mansion kind of vibe in the movie at some point. I think that could be interesting. Okay, moving on to plot points in this movie. I think that the plot is going to be Bowser is searching for Starbits and Lumas to make his own galaxy. Bowser got his ego hurt in the first movie, and I think Bowser trying to get his own galaxy and steal Starbits and Lumas could be an interesting way for this movie to work. And then obviously, I think it makes sense that Rosalina is asking help from Mario, Luigi, and Peach to stop Bowser. A power-up that wasn't in the Galaxy games, but I think could make for a hilarious scene is the double cherry. Mario doesn't like mushrooms, but he never said anything about cherries, so maybe he accidentally eats a cherry and then Rosalina's like, no! And then he multiplies into multiple different Marios. I think they could do something funny with that. I wouldn't expect the Mario family or Brooklyn to play a huge role in this film. It was kind of surprising how much Brooklyn and Mario's family played in the first movie, but I think that's more so origin story kind of beats that I don't think they want to retread in this movie. However, they do need to get to Brooklyn somehow to find Yoshi. But I think it's also more likely that Yoshi just finds the pipe in the sewers. I also think having Yoshi be super hungry and want to eat a bunch of fruits, like he gets random power-ups throughout the movie, could be very interesting. Okay, kind of a little conspiracy theory here. Don't call me crazy, but I think I'm onto something here. In the short teaser we got for the Mario Galaxy movie, you see Monty Mole pop out of the ground with a red hat, and then we quickly move away from that. It kind of looks like the hat has a circle on it with a red M in the middle. I think it's possible that Mario captured that Monty Mole, and that captures are gonna be in this movie. Because when you think about it, when in the Mario series has a character worn a hat, specifically a red hat, outside of Odyssey? There's gotta be a reason that Monty Mole is wearing a hat. It can't just be a random detail. That just wouldn't make any sense at all. So I think there's a non-zero to maybe like 5% chance that captures are in this movie. And then back to plot details, I think part of how we could get the backstory of Rosalina is the library on the Comet Observatory is off limits, but Mario and Luigi being, you know, the doofuses that they are, they sneak in there and they steal her storybook to read it, and then Rosalina gets mad at them. And then that kind of like creates a divide between Rosalina and the group. Also, Luma Lee is going to give Mario and the gang the spin jump in this movie. The spin jump is a necessary part of the Mario Galaxy games that should 100% be in this movie, and I think Luma Lee is going to have something to do with it. Luma Lee was the Luma we saw in the first movie, so I would keep that in mind. I also don't want to see a damsel in distress this time. I think we should keep Mario, Luigi, and Peach together for the adventure. That was kind of my least favorite part of the first Super Mario Bros. Movie, is that they separated Mario and Luigi, and I want to see more scenes with Chris Pratt and Charlie Day. And I also don't want to retread Peach being stolen by Bowser. I think that didn't happen in the first movie, but it's been done 1,000 times in the games, and I think it's more interesting if you keep the whole group together. And I just talked about Loop-de-Loop Galaxy being kind of the Rainbow Road-esque scene from the first movie. However, there was a Mario Kart track that just came out that has a lot to do with Mario Galaxy, Rosalina, and the Comet Observatory, and that is Starview Peak. I think there's a decent chance we see Starview Peak in this movie. Then something else that kind of originally appeared in Mario 64, but was kind of also a feature in Galaxy, is chasing bunnies. Specifically Mips. If you remember in Mario 64, you chase around Mips for a star, and then in the first level of Mario Galaxy, you chase around bunnies to get to the end and get the spin jump. Then a specific galaxy I really want to make an appearance here is Battle Rock Galaxy. Specifically because of the music, but also Battle Rock Galaxy is great, but I kind of need a cinematic score of Battle Rock Galaxy. I personally think it's one of the best songs in the Mario franchise to date. And then if you remember, on Freeze Flame Galaxy, you could skate around on the ice. I think that could be a really somber, peaceful scene where Mario and Peach and Luigi and Rosalina are defeated after a battle, come back to this galaxy, or they get stuck on this galaxy and they're all sad and depressed, but then they skate around on the ice and they get their hope back. I think that could be very touching to see. And then kind of a galaxy that is a bit of fan service. I would love to see Throwback Galaxy, you know, specifically Whomp's Fortress. Whomp's Fortress is one of my favorite levels in the Mario franchise. Mario 64 is personally my favorite Mario game. Having Whomp's Fortress here, it would just be insane to see it on the big screen. Charles Martinet needs to make another cameo appearance. I think you would kind of love to see him become the Stan Lee of these movies. He was Mario for over 3 decades. They really made sure that he got his screen time or voice time in the first movie. I would love to see more of Charles Martinet in this movie. I'm not sure how you do more cameos with him, but you can find a character for him. This has nothing to do with Galaxy, but I think if we're in space, we're gonna see the Moon Kingdom. The Moon Kingdom, the final level of Mario Odyssey, I think personally kind of makes sense for this movie. Again, I don't think this is gonna be a fully Galaxy movie. I think it's gonna have many Galaxy elements, but it's going to be a Mario movie first. And going to the moon for a final battle kind of makes a lot of sense here. Don't count out the Moon Kingdom in this movie. And then as we get towards the end, I think we kind of need a perfect run finale to get to Bowser. Specifically, there should be a challenging course or a challenging booby trap setup where Bowser's at the end of this level per se, and Mario and the gang have to traverse all of these traps to get to Bowser. It's the final push to get to him. I think a platforming challenge to get to the end could be a very Mario way to end this movie. And then specifically, Yoshi's in this movie. We saw the teaser at the end of the first Mario movie. You know, they become friends over the course of the whole Mario Galaxy movie, and then they need to sacrifice Yoshi to get a second jump to reach Bowser at the end. Obviously, Yoshi will survive because in kids' movies, nobody dies. If you played a Mario game, that is a platforming feature in Mario games where you can sacrifice Yoshi to get a second jump. So I think having that callback and also having that sacrifice would add a little bit of weight to the end of the movie where you can be like, oh my god, Yoshi, he's the hero, but in the end he comes back because nobody dies in a kid's movie. At the end of the movie, oh my gosh, we're so tired. That was such a hard adventure. We need a vacation. And then they go to Isle Delfino. Hey, I think we could see them go to Isle Delfino. I think that'd be cool. It doesn't, have to lead into the next movie being Sunshine, but I think the end of the movie with them on Isle Delfino, chilling out there, having a good time, could be a lot of fun. And then 2 characters I'd like to see them tease at the end of the movie are Daisy and Bowser Jr. I think Daisy is somebody that should appear in the 3rd movie, while Bowser Jr. kind of just makes sense as the next step past Bowser in the Mario movie series. You could obviously include him in this movie, but I think it's better to tease him here. You could have Shadow Mario in this movie, and then at the end of it, it's revealed Shadow Mario is Bowser Jr., just like what happens in Sunshine. So I think that could be kind of neat. And then finally, to end the movie, I think there should be an end credit scene or a mid-credit scene blooper reel and animating outtakes where Lakitu got his little camera floating on his cloud filming the movie, but they keep messing up in the recording booth, so they animate it to look like they're on set recording, but Lakitu's actually like filming them. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. If you're as excited for the Mario Galaxy movie as I am, please subscribe, leave a like, comment. I'll be making a bunch more videos about the Galaxy movie as it comes closer. And with all that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.